Streaming from Oklahoma's own digital studio, this is TU Football Update, brought to you by Brahms. Here's Jeremie Poplin.
Hey, TU fans, the opportunity to win games is dwindling here as the college football season is rapidly coming to a close. Just a handful of few more opportunities for Tulsa to find a few more wins to create that momentum that we've talked about heading into the 2026 season and off season, in which there will absolutely be some roster rebuilding for the University of Tulsa. Thank you for tuning in. Hit that like and subscribe button here, Oklahoma's own sports. And thank you to our great sponsor, Brahms, as well. Well, here comes Oregon State. And the Beavers coming in off what some consider to be maybe one of the more disappointing and embarrassing losses that they've had on the season so far to previously winless Sam Houston State up in Corvallis. Now, we'll get to some more details on that, but the one thing that stands out to me about this matchup in particular, just looking at the two, some similarities, unfortunately. And I say unfortunately not just from the Tulsa side, but from the Oregon State side as well, if any of their fans happen to be watching this little ditty that we're doing here, and you know far too well what you've been able to experience so far. But I will say from the Tulsa perspective, and hearing the head coaches, seeing it week in, week out, the little things that add up that result in L's instead of W's. And it's a handful of plays here or there that has seemingly made the difference between both of these teams' seasons so far. Tulsa fans, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The 5 or 6 plays per game that just seemingly sink the entire game. Last week's a prime example of that, the fumble going in right before halftime with A.J. Allen. It's unfortunate, but it happened. Trey Lamb has chronicled this throughout the course of the season, as have the defensive coordinator, Josh Reardon, and a few other staff members. And it just feels like that you're a bit snake-bitten in trying to work your way through that. Both teams have an opportunity coming up this Saturday. So for Oregon State, a couple of things that happened in their Sam Houston matchup last weekend, that about 5 things, count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that you say, here's the difference between us winning and us losing in this game. You had not only a missed field goal, you had a blocked field goal, and then you had a blocked punt. The trifecta, unbelievably, for special teams for Oregon State, which has been a reoccurring problem for the Beavers throughout the course of the entire season. Tulsa has not had as many problems on special teams, but it has had its own fair share of problems in general. Speaking of Tulsa, going back to what we talked about earlier, the touchdown from FAU right before half, which suddenly turns that game in from a 3-point deficit for Tulsa into a larger deficit, and 2 touchdowns within 44 seconds for the Owls to really put that game out of reach at 31-6 at halftime. Oregon State's cruising along. It's 17-0. They give up a touchdown right before the end of the first half. Sam Houston State's in it, 17-7, and then, boom, second half starts, and then what happens? You get a kickoff return in the second half. Unbelievable. So not just the trifecta on special teams, you got the quadruple. Unbelievable if you're an Oregon State fan, but really believable at the same time considering the type of season that you've had. So you see the similarities where it's just been a play here or a combination of plays that have resulted in losses on the season. Well, earlier this week I had a chance to talk with some of the players. Nahki Johnson, who probably had one of his better games since joining TU, coming over as a transfer from Pitt, and then also Grayson Tempest. I'm going to play this because I thought there were some specific questions that were asked about just overall mood of the team. And then it's, in a way, I battled with this. In a way, it's disrespectful to the current team to start asking about the future, especially considering that there's 3 games left. I don't want to do that. I don't want to take away from what they are trying to accomplish, even from a personal standpoint or a team building, but it's also natural to start thinking ahead. And I wanted to make sure that we had the emphasis on what these guys were feeling about the locker room, just the vibe in general, and whether or not there is some sense of pride about laying the foundation, especially in Nahki Johnson's case, laying the foundation for what's going to happen or what we hope is going to happen under this regime in starting next season. So let's hear from some of the Tulsa players before we dive back into Oregon State.
Yeah, I think that we're in a spot in our season that we definitely didn't envision ourselves being in. And it's not where we want to be, but it's where we are. And I think that we have a good opportunity this upcoming Saturday, to compete, and it's a chance to get better, and it's a chance for these seniors that only have 3 collegiate games left of their entire collegiate career, it's a chance to send them off the right way. So,
what, I guess, kind of inspired you to wait your turn this year? Because you kind of had to wait to get opportunities as the year went on. And maybe some guys might say, okay, well, this isn't going to happen, so we're just going to focus on next year, do something else. Why did you wait your turn?
Yeah, I think as a player in college football, all a guy wants is just an opportunity. And I think that it's my job as a player to make sure that I'm working hard enough and preparing well enough so that when that opportunity presents itself that I can capitalize on it. And so I think for me it's just been staying level-headed no matter if I'm playing or if I'm not playing or what position I'm in. It's just making sure that I'm ready for when that opportunity comes, I can capitalize on it. And so that's just been my philosophy, is staying level-headed, and the work stays consistent no matter what external circumstances there are.
How do you feel about being hometown guy on hometown team?
It's a lot of fun. We got a bye week last week, and then I was able to go home to Union and go to their home game. So, it's just kind of nice to be in town and know the people around town, and it's been a lot of fun.
So, is this your last year?
Yes.
Okay. So, how do you kind of keep yourself going for 3 more games?
Honestly, it's just I really don't need any motivation to keep you going. I just, do what I'm supposed to do, honestly, and that's just how it's always been. I know the season hasn't gone how we wanted it to go, but just as long as I keep going and I keep putting out good film, that's all the motivation I really need, and to just keep going for all the guys on the team with me, because I truly think those guys are my brothers. So working hard for them and just trying to get it right, even with the culture that Coach Lamb is trying to bring in here and, install for next year, I'm all for it. I'm already bought in, so that's all the motivation I really need.
From a personal standpoint, has this been what you expected it would be when you came here?
Definitely not. I definitely expected probably a different outcome. I'm pretty sure everybody expects like that fairy tale outcome, but just as a point of coming here in a personal level and just becoming the person that I wanted to become, definitely. I feel like I made a lot of great connections out here. I met a lot of people who are going to be in the life for the rest of my life, whether that's in the NFL, whether that's, working a regular job, I just feel like coming here was the best decision for me, and I wouldn't second guess it if I had to go back.
Nahki, you got a big sack the other day, right? Interior linemen don't get that opportunity very often. So what's that like, and how gratifying is that for you?
It's just great, the practice, being in that moment, and just imagine myself being in that moment all week, and to finally go out there and show what I got. It just feels great. I got so excited I didn't even know what to do when I celebrated. So it was a lot of fun. And like I said, things haven't gone the way we wanted to right now, but just being out there and having fun with the guys, like, there's no better feeling.
And I'm not sure what your numbers were at Pitt in terms of number of plays, but with the 8-man kind of rotation you have on the defensive line, are you able to stay fresh?
Oh, most definitely, yeah. I feel like Coach Gray does a really great job at keeping us fresh, rotating us in, making sure our bodies aren't banged up. Coach Lamb does a great job at practice, making sure we're not too banged up for the games, because he knows who his guys are, and he just keeps us fresh all the time. And this is actually one of the best programs I've been a part of like staying fresh, keeping us fresh throughout the week. There was never a point in the season where I felt like, man, am I going to be able to go Saturday? I always felt 100% going into Saturdays. I always felt great. So I can't thank him enough for that.
Grayson, the coach, has described when you were doing scout team stuff about how, Tempest is burning our defensive backs here as a scout team player time and time again. So what does that say about your perseverance and what's going through your mind at that point when you're like, okay, I'm having some success against my brothers, making them look bad, but it's giving me an opportunity. What's that say about your tenacity?
Yeah, it's definitely been a fun journey, just going through these different stages of the season. And I think for me, like I said, is just showing up to work today with the same attitude no matter what position you're in. And so whether that was me just on special teams to begin the season and, working as hard as I can at that, trying to make plays, whether that was giving a look for the defense and scout team, I was just all about doing whatever I could to help the team and, staying ready for that opportunity. So I think that has kind of helped me just make the most of when my number's called.
A couple of things. First of all, Grayson, I got a chance to do your games in high school, so I saw some of the things you did there. Early here, you had a couple of drops. I know that had to be frustrating, but then you suddenly you just kind of turned it around. The one touchdown catch, great catch. Is there a different feeling now for you than there was maybe early? Some nerves or something you got over? What helped you turn it around?
Yeah, I think that just throughout the season, you always gain confidence throughout the season, and especially after you make a couple plays, it's a little easier to know that you can go out there and make that same play the next day. But I think we have great coaches on our staff, and specifically Coach Switz, who puts us in great positions in practice to make the plays in practice so that when we get in games that we're ready to make it. And I think that the coaches do a great job at getting us ready, and yeah.
Now I know you returned punts a lot in high school too, and then you had a nice punt return the other day. Was that something you've been practicing all the time? You haven't always been the guy out there, so what led to that?
Yeah, I always am back there just practicing returning punts, and maybe haven't always gotten the opportunity to do it. We've had some great Cam Benjamin was here in the past, and great player here at TU, and Zion Booker filling in for him. He had some injuries going on, so I got the opportunity to do it this week, and it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it.
I'm going to follow up on that because when I saw you trot out there this weekend, internally I was like, it's a lot of pressure for someone to come in and do this because Booker's been doing it the entire season. What goes through your head back there? Do you have a process that you do mentally when you run out for punt return?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing on punt return is that if you have any doubt in your mind that you're not going to catch it, then that's when you get in trouble. So I think the whole thing for me all week was just making it known that I'm going to go in there and catch the ball, and if the opportunity presents itself, then I'm going to make a play. So I think that that's just kind of the mindset that I presented, and it's definitely nice having a coach that returned punts at a very high level. So he does a good job at coaching that.
For you both, because you both have hinted at this, Coach was just in here and talked about building a culture of a program and especially moving forward from here. Can both of you kind of surmise what you've seen from just a culture aspect with this team? And Nahki, you talked about even, kind of the role that you have in promoting the culture for next year. So what is it like with culture and just kind of the identity of this team right now?
I feel like it's a great culture to be around. I feel like there's no eyes on the team. Everybody's a we. Whenever we bring up like game plans or stuff like that, there's no like pouting when people find out their roles or anything like that. So I feel like the culture is coming along great. Like I said, the outcome of the season isn't where we want it to be, but it's hard to win games, and I think a lot of people forget about that. Like in college football, it's really hard to win games. So I feel like once we establish this culture, how Coach Lamb wants it to, whether it's right now, we really want it to be next game. But as soon as we establish these wins, and people understand what it's like to win, get that mentality of this is a winning team and we are winners, I feel like this culture is just going to go through the roof, because we have the talent on the team and we have the guys who are willing to do what they need to do. I just feel like as a team, we really need to understand what it's like to win and how to become winners. Because when you establish a mindset like that, the change is like night and day,
Yeah, and I think that everything he said, that mindset is being established right now. And it's not just for next season, and we have 3 great opportunities to, like you said, go into next season as a strong, just trending upwards. And I think something that Coach Lamb said in meetings the other day is that we have guys on our team that really enjoy coming to practice. Like, it's fun to play here at TU. And in the past, maybe with some losing season, it hasn't been, but guys enjoy coming to work, and guys are working really hard, and we're definitely going to turn that corner.
Definitely.
Is there pride in it's one of those kind of internal things that you have to come to terms with. Is there pride in knowing that you're going to be like a part of kind of laying the foundation of what's to come? Or what's that situation like?
Yeah, most definitely, because, even if even if things aren't going the way we wanted to right now, you know, if I look back on TU and the next few years, TU is in the run for the college football playoffs or making consistent bowl games, you know, we know that. I mean, I can know personally that I played a role in that because I came in, you know, with Trey Lamb's first year, and I set the foundation. I established everything that he wanted me to establish. You know, when I came here, he had a talk with me and said, these are some of the things that I want to install in this program. And, you know, I told him, I'm like, I'm going to help you. You know, I got you. So anything you need me to do, just let me know, and I got you, you know. And just his success is going to really make me happy, you know. It's like genuinely going to make me happy because, you know, I know Coach Lamb, he's a good dude. I know Coach Gray, he's a good dude. You know, all of them are great people. And just knowing that I had a role to play in that, you know, it's going to make me feel happy. So, yes, I definitely take pride in going through these last 3 games and getting these wins, you know.
It's time to enjoy the sweet taste of Brahms Strawberry Shortcake Sundae. Our creamy vanilla ice cream is nestled on top of Brahms fresh-baked golden bundt cakes with spoonfuls of delicious strawberry topping all around, complete with fluffy whipped cream and a cherry to create the perfect flavor combination. Strawberry goodness is waiting for you at Brahms.
All right, Jabari Johnson is a name that you need to know if you're headed to the game on Saturday you're going to watch, because most of the hype surrounding Oregon State this season was about Malik Murphy. And that ship has seemingly sailed, and this looks like it's Jabari Johnson's team for the rest of the season, and he's had moments of being up and down. But he has shown continued development and growth so far on the season. So let's hear from the offensive coordinator for Oregon State, that's Danny Langsdorf, on just how his quarterback is started to get his feel, even if wasting last week's performance against Sam Houston State is still a letdown.
2 games with Jabari. What did you see in terms of growth from game 1 to game 2?
You know, I thought he did some good quarterback stuff. He progressed on some reads and checked the ball down. You know, I thought his game is to make some plays with his legs and scramble, and he did a decent job of that. Maybe a little quick at a couple times, but I thought he did a better job, improved job of using the whole play and getting off of maybe his first read and progressing on to a next 2 or 3 or a check down.
Yeah. In terms of like the line and the pass pro, where do you see that? Is that where you want it right now? Is it still improving?
I think that we've probably taken a few too many sacks. Not always the line. That's a protection unit. Could be a line, tight end, running back, quarterback, getting rid of the ball. You know, we took a sack on a flea flicker that we had a open throw that we probably either could have gotten rid of the ball or thrown the ball away if he didn't see it very well. So not all the O-line, but definitely need to protect better, longer, and then play fast at quarterback, get rid of the ball.
Is that just more of a communication thing than anything else? Is there just kind of just a breakdown in that from like what you were saying, like the line, tight ends, running back?
No, I think I wouldn't say that so much as just sustaining blocks for longer, and then the quarterback getting rid of the ball quicker. You know, that's part of it too. So I thought that part, communication part, I didn't think it was a huge deal. Maybe a one-on-one matchup gets us. Holding the ball too long could get you, you know, just a matchup error. But overall, we just have to be able to stand back there for longer, and then we've got to play quick at quarterback and get open when we've got opportunities in man coverage and then complete the ball.
Looking at Tulsa, what do they do defensively that you think you can maybe take some advantage of on Saturday?
You know, they don't give you a crazy ton of different looks. They kind of play their defense and they play it well. They're in good position. They play hard and physical. So we'll have to match that intensity. You can see them flying around. They've had, you know, they beat Oklahoma State, which is a good team. It was a matchup problem for them, and they beat them. And then they had a couple close games that they didn't come out on top. So they've been in games, in all their games for the most part. So we have we've got to have a great week and be able to prepare and play a tough game on the road early. You know, it's an early start, and luckily we practice in the morning, so we're used to getting going. But they are you can see them flying around on tape, and they are physical.
The Oregon State defense is one that also you look overall and what they've done, and sometimes the numbers don't quite add up, but this is a unit that has also evolved over the course of the season. Mark Croner, who's their DC, met with the media earlier this week as well.
What our players have said, you know, the body of work and the repetitions that they've been doing over and over and over has been great, you know, the last 2-3 weeks. The one thing I do say is not that we weren't before, but it is an opportunity to continue to play against somebody that is very similar offensive-wise than what we've played, you know, in the past. They've worked hard. We've done good. We've kind of concentrated on doing a great job of who has leverage, who has spill, all that in the run game. Run game has helped us. Shoring up the run game has really helped us. Because they're more pass-oriented from an offensive standpoint, and that kind of makes us be able to go get the quarterback a little bit. We have had some more sacks in the last recent weeks, and probably doubled it. I don't know, but the exact amount. But we've done a really good job with that, identifying where we are in our run fits, which has helped us in the pass game. And that also includes where you can blitz more. You can bring pressure more on second down, second and long. You can bring a little bit more. We've started to do some more run fit blitzes, things like that to really help us maybe get them in second long more and tackle for losses or second and 10. And anytime you're behind the sticks, that helps us, obviously. You know, we're not saying that. But I really do think the kids are working hard. After this whole deal. I mean, it's hard after your head coach is gone. Now you have a new one, and but you know you want to continue to win and do those things that can always help us.
This team is not void of talent by any means. Hankerson, the running back, is tremendous. I really like Jabari at the quarterback spot. I do think that he has the ability to make some things happen, but he is reckless with the football at times, something that he will have to work out on his own. And good wide receivers as well for Oregon State. It's going to be one of those games that I think Trey Lamb has mentioned time and time again so far this season. Probably going to be within a 7-point game, just looking at both of these rosters. All right, thank you for tuning in. Really appreciate it. See you out there on Saturday. And if not, tune in and watch what could be a post-game edition of this podcast that I will hopefully put up as soon as the game is over on Saturday to get some recaps from not only Tulsa players, but from Trey Lamb as well. And are we potentially talking about another victory on the season for Tulsa with the rare appearance from Oregon State coming in to Chapman Stadium to take on the Golden Hurricane? We'll see you next time. Remember, hit that like and subscribe. And thank you so much to our sponsors for helping make this happen. Brahms.
Thank you for watching this Oklahoma's own digital studio stream. Stay with News 9, online and on television, anytime for the latest news, weather, and sports.